spending time with her husband, friends, family, including her 12 grandchildren. In her spare time, she connects and celebrates with the women involved in motorsports, taking you behind the wall about their journey of life, racing, and how they juggle everything to make it all work. Welcome to Racing Girls Rock Podcast. Strap in, window nets up, the pedals are down, and when the green flag drops, we go.
Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with Racing Girls Rock Podcast. And it's my honor today to introduce you to Stefy Bao. Stefy and I connected on social media, and she has a very interesting project that she and a couple of other ladies are involved in. And I'm excited to share with you what they're doing and maybe how you can get interested and involved. So, Stefy, welcome to the show. And I'm just going to let you tell us a little bit about yourself and then tell us what you and your two lady friends are doing.
Yes, so first of all, thank you so much, Melinda, for having me on the show. I really appreciate this. And yes, so my name is Stefy Bao. I am a former three-time women motocross world champion, and being plugged into the motorsport industry pretty much since I was a little girl. I started riding motorcycle at 4 and racing motorcycle at 6. So, even though it's 2-wheel and not 4-wheel, which 4-wheel is usually mostly associated with motorsport, it's still motorsport. And, I had a very fun time and enjoy my racing years. Fast forward to a couple years ago, I started to pay attention to the industry, and I saw that there was a void into the e-sport segment of two-wheel, especially in the off-road community. So for the people that they don't know what e-sport are, esports pretty much is playing video game with a video game, in our case, because we have the passion about motorsport, which is called sim racing, which means simulated racing, and playing video games just like on the same tracks, like all the athletes and the driver and the riders compete on. So Formula One has a very strong esport tournament going on. There is a lot of interest, and even now with the situation with COVID that we all have to go through, the esport part of Formula One took off incredibly, so much so that because the drivers couldn't really compete, they put their skill into the games, so they started competing the games. So creating a very big and interesting community where, rider and gamers and fan can all play together and enjoy their favorite sport. So as I was saying, there was a void into the motocross and supercross area of esport. So my background is in motocross and supercross, and I know everybody in the industry. So I started to make my research, and I discovered that there was an interest, and I surround myself with two partners. One of them is my sister, which she lives in Italy, and she comes from the MotoGP world. The other one is, her name is Claire, and she is in the UK, and she comes from the Formula One world. So I felt that with a team of three very strong women, they had very good success in male-dominated industries such as motorsport. We could do something fairly cool and interesting into gaming, which is also a male-dominated industry. So we picked motorsport gaming, because that's where we have the passion. And so we create Init Esport. So Init Esport is an agency that creates tournaments for motorsport games, and specifically focus on engaging with women participants. We really care about growing the side of gaming for women. And we feel that gaming can be a first stepping stone into motorsport as a whole, because there are different aspects of being a part of an industry, of a sport. Some are people that work in the industry, some are the riders, the drivers, and some are the fans. So the fans and people in the industry, they don't get much of a chance to actually be sitting on a car or on a motorcycle and do the sport. Well, gaming lets you do that. And in the four-wheel aspect is actually with the simulators, it's super fun because you really get to experience, to sit in a seat, like and grabbing that steering wheel and racing on the track that usually your idols are racing, and you can put your skill to test. And it's super good, and I think it's a way to kind of lower the entry barrier to the sport, so that maybe people that will never had an interest into motorsport as a whole, with gaming, especially the millennial generation that they live online, it could be a good way to use it, as a tool to bring more consumer into the motorsport industry.
So I'm just sitting here listening and just so interested, and I do have some questions. So, iRacing was big when NASCAR was out. So a lot of people now know more about esports because of iRacing. And so we saw all the rigs, they called them, the seats and all the computer monitors and everything that they use. So what do you have to get started to do the motorcycle or the motocross racing?
Well, in reality, you just need the console, the game, and with the console comes the controller, and that's it. That is the same thing that you will be getting if you play any other, game, or even like the iRacing games or Formula One games. You can still start by playing it with just a console. Some people, when they start to get very good at it, they move from a console to a PC, because the processor speed of a PC is much faster than a console. So you get reaction times, during the game much more accurate. And then, like you can evolve, like and get into the rig, like you mentioned, like where you have the entire setup and it feels like to be in a cockpit of a car. For motorcycling, we don't have a rig yet because it's very difficult right now to reproduce the feeling of a triple jump in supercross, for instance. Like, so to be able to get a simulator that to have those enclosed capsule where you can feel the G-force because the capsule move. So outrageous cost, of course, about that. So we are not there yet, but with the evolving of esport and the interest of more and more people into esport, I will not be surprised that in a couple of years' time, some company will come up with an idea of how to generate that sort of feeling. But the car world is much ahead already. And the current rigs, like that you can buy and can purchase, they are very cool, and they really span, from any kind of money. You can have, a starting beginning rig for $500, which is less than a go-kart. So that's my point of, trying to get kids into the sport, but, with a little bit of a less investment at first. But then, if you really, really enjoyed that, there are rigs that they get up to even $20,000, which sounds outrageous, but, like it's just like the simulator of the car. So much so that the one that they cost them much, the real racer, the real driver, they have them at home, because teams start to analyze data from the rigs, and they figure it out that they can get the very close to reality data back. So it's much cheaper to put the driver into a car if it crashes on the screen, and safer than, go testing and have a driver in the car and then, collect all the data, and then maybe, have a risk of a crash that can hurt the driver, but also, can be very expensive. So, there is a lot of interest in these two worlds, like the real sport and the gaming, because it can feed from off of each other in multiple ways.
Yeah, exactly. And so my husband and I ride motorcycles. I sold mine. I can't do a lot of it anymore because of my back, but we love motorcycle racing, and we watch it on TV, and we used to go to Mid-Ohio all the time to watch it. And so if you haven't ridden a motorcycle, even just down the road where the wind's blowing and all the things that you feel when you're on the motorcycle, that's hard to replicate in a video game, I would think. But just the actual driving and along the track and the jumps and all the things you do, it's pretty sophisticated, isn't it? The game that you have.
Yeah, I mean, the games right now, they are at a level that from the first person point of view, so like the racer is on the motorcycle, they feel pretty realistic. Like you have, like in the off-road type of games, you have the ruts in the track, you need to pick your lines, you need to shift the gear to be able to make the jumps. So, if you've never done or rode a motorcycle before, like you said, the feeling is like, I don't know what this is about. But the other way around, if you are a kid or an adult that have rode a motorcycle before, you can kind of like in your brain feel what you're actually replicating on the screen. So it's fairly engaging, I will say. It's a fun way to, get better also, because a lot of the tracks in the video games, they are exactly the real tracks. So, you can get accustomed, racing, it's a lot about memorizing, the layout of the track and knowing exactly, where you have to shift, where you have to brake, where the track develops and in what way. So the game is kind of like keep practicing. So I think it's very cool. For a former racer, I have to say, when I play some of those games and I've been on those tracks before, maybe I play with people that are fan of the sport but never experienced the track, they always say, you're cheating because you know where the track goes. I say, yeah, I do know where the track goes.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm assuming that you can start from never having driven, and do you you can grow and go levels up, or, explain a little bit how that works. Like, do you have like a group of people that you race against? And so explain how that works. Like, if I wanted to get started, what would I need to do?
Well, first of all, you need to have the game of your choice. Like if it is a motorcycle game or a car game, you start there. Then there are different levels and different interaction that you can have. You can do what is called a local tournament, meaning that you play with yourself, and the computer. So it's the AI of the game that toss competitors at you in the track, and then you pretty much race against the AI in the console. And that is a good way to start, because so you can get familiar with how the controller works, what you need to do in the racetrack, and learning the racetrack. And then once you have done that you have just starting to go very good, and you have levels, like in racing game, like in real racing, there's going to be a lot of things based on lap times. So better you get, more faster you're going to get, and then you can kind of like get more difficult competitor against you, to grow level. That's the first step. Then you can start playing online. And online, the game itself will find people in the system that are your same skill level. And at that point, you can start to create a community and even forge friendship with people online to start playing against each other. At that level, the game allows you, for instance, to create a career. So you really have to look at sponsors, look at, be seen by team managers, get into a team, having a mechanic that knows, how to fix the car or the motorcycle. And then, you start in a team and you start growing. So once you get the team that you're very good at it, then you can start, shop around to be choose or picked by other teams. Then there is a third component, which is actually esport. So what esport is about, it takes this whole event a step further, meaning like you create tournaments, then they have a live event with it, meaning like if you get that good, you're gonna have to do, you know, like a true on championship, and then at midway, usually through the championship, you know, the way that we are developing this is to get the real sport involved. So like in motorcycle, like a KTM, a Honda, or a Kawasaki team will get the chance to pick a gamer to represent the company on the game. You see what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's really like real racing, but in a digital format. So much so that we were able to grab the attention to the AMA, which is the American Motorcycle Association, and we explain all of this to AMA, how, you know, more and more people, you know, and especially the millennial, you know, like they have this technology, their fingerprint, so they will be joining, you know, gaming more and more. Then we made an agreement and we became officially the promoter for any race for AMA digitally. So that means that once we are going to be able to do all of this tournament, the champion of the Supercross digital championship, or the flat track championship, or the Moto American champion, we actually receive an AMA #1 plate for being the digital champions of the discipline. So there are so many ways to, you know, like get more and more involved. And like I said, it is a cross platform, you know, companies and brands that make a product, they can start now looking at gaming as opportunity to get people to be on their brand, and then, you know, influence the buying purchases of those people, because you assume that they might start out that they are not, they don't have a motorcycle, or they are not necessarily fan, but then you can kind of like grow this interest and turn them into fans. Like, for instance, one on our idea is that at various stages, you know, like if you win a tournament, a local tournament or whatever, you know, like we can grant it to the winner a motorcycle class. So if you never tried motorcycle, now you get a point, a way to get involved with the real thing. So, you know, creativity is the key right here. And the very cool part, like I said, I think that us as a company, we moved quick and early. And thanks to the network that we have, we were able to slide right in there and becoming one of the point of reference for motorsport, two-wheel and four-wheel events in esports.
Wow, I'm just totally fascinated. And you know, you're at the ground, you're groundbreaking. And so there's nowhere to go but up for this, because I was just
Mhm.
sitting here thinking, you know, when iRacing was going on and the NASCAR guys were racing, FedEx and Bush Beer and M&M's, they were all getting all of that exposure. And what great
Indeed.
exposure, because there was nothing else to watch. Fox picked it up and put it on TV,
Mhm.
and the ratings were amazing because there was nothing else to do. Now that's not always going to be the way, but it also, all it takes is getting somebody to just look at it once, just like getting them to go to
Mhm.
the track. Get them to a motorcycle race just one time, and I guarantee they're going to go back 90% of the time or more.
Oh yes.
Right. And so you're doing the same thing, you know, get them exposed to this. They can do it from home. They don't have to travel. They can meet people all over the world because it's internet based. They can make friends like I have. You
Yep.
and I have become friends. We would have never known each other had it not been for motorsports and the internet and social media. There's so much opportunity now for people to not be bored. There's always something you can do. And this is just an amazing, you know, platform for people to get involved with. I absolutely love it. So it's spell out, because I know I had to look at it a couple times. spell out the name of your e-racing and how they can find you and how they can get started.
Yeah, our company is called INIT, so INIT esports, so ESPORTS, so
Right.
esports. And yeah, it's initesports.com. And if you go on the website, you will see, you know, what's happening and what's going on. And I have to say, we are very, very interested in learning and hearing from people that women that they are interested in learning about this. So if you are a woman and you love motorsports and you want to learn a little bit more, please reach out, because for us being 3 female founders, we really care about helping women to get into this ecosystem. So just reach out, send an email, you know, whatever interest you have, you know, like it doesn't necessarily has to be only to become a driver, like a digital driver. It might even be, you know, that you want to become part of this community, you know, like, or learning how to get involved with this industry. Just please reach out, because we are here to help.
Okay, that's awesome, because and it isn't just men that are racing, obviously, but you're trying to reach the women and encourage them to get involved, because we know, you and I and a host of other women, thousands and thousands of women, know that motorsports is not just for men, it is for women, but there's also thousands and thousands and thousands of women who husbands go to the races or their husbands go to the track or whatever, and they don't feel like it's for them. And some of them, it's not for them, but if they haven't been, or they haven't felt welcome or included, then they're not going to show up. And so that's what you're trying to do with esports. That's what I'm trying to do in motorsports of all kinds, is make it available to women to see that, yes, we can have events geared towards women, and explain how you can get involved and showcase some women that have really done well in motorsports. And it's just so fun. The people you meet are second to none. There's no better people than the people that are in motorsports. They're just a huge family, and I absolutely love it. Last night, my husband was flicking through the channels, and we came across Red Bull air racing. I had never seen it before. Now, I knew airplanes race, but I had never seen it before. Oh my gosh. So somebody needs to do an e-sport for airplane racing. I'm going to put that bug in your ear, because oh my gosh, it was crazy. And my dad had a Cessna 182 4-seater airplane back in the day when I was in high school, and I learned how to take off and land the plane just in case something would happen to him. And when I saw those guys last night racing through those cones, and oh my God, I said to my husband, this is absolutely nuts, but I love it. So that's something I think I would do. I would try the airplane racing just because I think that would be fun too. So yeah, it's just crazy, isn't it?
It is, but like you said, you know, like if you have a passion, you know, I guess gaming gets you a seat, you know, into the driving seat, you know, like, and you will never be able to do, most likely, you know, what these guys did in the show that you watched last night, but you can do it on a video game, you know,
Right.
so, you know, like, and get good at it even, you know, without risking your life like those guys and girls do.
Yeah, there weren't any women last night. And unfortunately, I Googled it because I said to my husband, I want to go watch this in person. Well, last year was the last year Red Bull did it. They don't have that. But there are other airplane racing opportunities to go watch. And so we're going to investigate that a little bit more, because right now none of them are happening. But at some point, I'm going to go watch that in person, because I just thought that was just amazing. So, yeah, Stefy, this has been so interesting, and I've learned so much. What else have you not told me about, or have I not asked you about, that you want to share with people, or that they should know?
Nothing. I mean, we are for as Init Esport, we are also on social media. So we are trying to grow, like that. So if you feel like you want to go and learn, what we are doing, we post there often. You can go and like the Facebook page or Twitter or Instagram, so you can get to see that. We are also on Twitch, which Twitch is the platform for gaming. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, Melinda, but it is a platform for gaming, so we are on there as well. And still, the handling is always Init Esports, so you can find us over there. And yeah, that's about it. So super
Okay.
happy to had the chance to talk to you. And yeah, I'm here, willing. I have had some success, like I said, in my career for as a racer, but also as a business person. So I love to give a chance and mentor, like women that they are interested in motorsport. So if anybody is interested in learning more, they can reach out directly to me too, in that case.
Okay. I'm so glad we connected, and I'm so interested in this. I'm going to be excited to share this not only on the podcast here, but also on Facebook and Instagram and those places where I kind of hang out, because I think this is a great thing for people to be able to do. And the thing I love about it, any age can do it. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Yes, exactly.
Girl, man, woman, no matter where you live, it's for everybody. And so I love that part about it too. So we'll put some links in the show notes so that people can find, Init Esports and your Facebook links and that. But I'm just so excited that we had the chance to talk, and hopefully one of these days we'll get the chance to meet in person. That would be even better. I love meeting the ladies that I interview. So thank you so much for being on today. Any last words that you might have?
I just would like to say to everybody that if you have a dream, just go for it. Never give up, and just go for it. Because life, it's weird and interesting, but I think we are here for a limited amount of time, so we should definitely go for what you love. So that's my biggest, takeaway that I'm gonna give to everybody, in this call.
That's great advice. I love that, because there's such negativity in the world, and especially towards women in racing in many ways. And you have just as much right to be on the track as they do, and you can do just as well, if not better. So agree. Follow your dreams and don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Excellent advice. Well, Stefy,
Exactly.
I'm gonna let you go, and we're gonna get this podcast out here this week. But thanks again for connecting, and I'll share all of your links, and we'll hopefully get some people interested.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for the exposure, Melinda, and looking forward to stay in touch.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for listening to Racing Girls Rock Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at International Women's Motorsports Association, or on Instagram and Twitter at the IWMA Nation. And if you know someone that should be on our show, drop us an email at iwmanation@gmail.com.